So how did you like the sound of this superhero pad? We will be designing it today in Drift Synthesizer because it's the Sweet Sun Sunday. And I'm Bizeles, and this is my channel, which is all about making music, sound design, Ableton Live, and all things related. So without any further ado, let's jump into Ableton and let's start designing. Okay, so let's design our superhero pad. First, we need a drift. So it is here in Instruments, that's the drift synthesizer. Let's drop it here on the fresh track and let's start designing. So that's how it sounds now, out of the box. Quite harsh, but let's do something about it. We're gonna change some oscillator waves here for the pulse wave, the second one to a salted wave, and they both gonna be playing on the octave 0, like that. Okay, let's change the shape a little bit here, so it looks like that, let's say it would be fine. Okay, very harsh, but let's make it even more harsher. Let's add a little bit more of the signal from the oscillator number 2, but let's detune it. Okay, perfect. Let's do something about the filter now because it's hurting my ears. So let's change it here slightly. Let's go to around like 3.6 kilohertz. Perfect. Let's add a little bit of the resonance, like so will be okay. And then let's add some of the high pass filter so we can cut down the low frequencies, as we don't need them too much. Okay, that's a big part of the job done already. And let's do something about envelopes. It will be a pad, so let's make the attack a little bit slower. Let's say around like 400 milliseconds. Decay will be fine. Sustain around 50%. And longer release. Okay, perfect. Now let's design a second envelope, which will shape our sound a little bit more, which will help shaping sound. So let's do the attack quite slow this time, like around 1.8 seconds. 2 seconds is fine. And then decay will be okay, sustain is fine, and release it a bit longer, around 1 second or something like that. Okay, now, where do we want this? We want this to be helping our filter. So let's change it here to the envelope number 2. Let's add around 25%-ish. So it's gonna pump the frequency a little bit up and then brings it down, like I would do like that, boom, and then brings it down with the decay. And that's basically what it does now. Now to get even more movement, let's design our LFO. So LFO will be quite slow, 0.25 is perfect. Lower the amount, we don't need it that much, perfect. And now let's add it here to the shape. So let's change the shape with the LFO. How much we want to change it? Like, let's go on -3%. +3, -3 doesn't really matter, but we can use the positive values here. So let's add 3% here. Yeah, 2.9 is fine, and let's hear it now. Okay, let's add more movement. Let's add a drift, like so. Okay, let's change the mode to unison and let's add that effect a little bit. Around 10% is fine. That changes quite a lot, yeah? Well, but basically that's everything done. We don't need to do anything. We can change the amount here maybe with the envelope, but it's not really that significant. Let's try, is there any difference now? Yeah, so the envelope's going to raise the amount to 100% and bring it down a little bit later. So yeah, well, maybe let's leave it like that. Okay, perfect. Now we're going to need quite a lot of effects, but don't be afraid. It's going to go really quick. So first things first, we need to iron the sound a little bit. So let's go to the dynamics, use the compressor, and let's support that threshold line on the top of the mountain so we can cut the tops of the mountains. Let's play a chord now. And let's find the line here. So we see it starts working a little bit. The rest of the settings are absolutely fine. We're not going to touch anything else. Yeah, it's going to help to tame this attack here a little bit. Okay, perfect. Now let's add another movement. So let's go to EQ and filters and let's add auto filter. Let's cut down a little bit more of the high frequencies here. And let's do resonance like that. Let's add a little bit of the envelope. And the most important part, let's play with the LFO here. Let's add a little bit of the amount here, a bit more rate, so a bit faster rate. And then when I'm gonna turn the phase, you're gonna hear the sound going from one ear to another. Okay, let's do it now. Okay, that's already cool, but it's a little bit harsh, isn't it? So let's do something about it quickly. Let's grab a reverb, but let's cheat a little bit. You see, I have this opened already. Let's open the reverb, let's open the hall and use the concert hall reverb without changing any settings whatsoever. Let's listen to it now. Oh yeah, well, let's change the dry wet signal because it's too wet, obviously. Well, actually, up to your liking. Can be actually not too bad on higher values like this. You can of course use a third-party plugins like Valhalla Supermassive or any other reverb that you really like to make the sound even more cool, but I'm trying to stick to the default plugins that are inside Ableton in each of the versions, so Ableton Live Intro, Standard, and Suite. Okay, and now at the end, let's add a little bit more of the movement, so let's go to the delay, let's grab a delay, let's drop it at the end, let's tame down the filter a little bit, and wetness here, and let's press the ping pong button, so it's gonna again go from one ear to another. Okay, let's listen to it now. That's our sound done. Perfect. Actually, very quick. Let's grab the first instruments and then let's grab the last effect with the shifts. Press Command and Control G. We can of course play with some macros. I'm gonna do that for you. I'm gonna release that instrument for downloading. It's gonna be downloadable for free from my website. Link is in the description box down below. One more little thing, we can of course rename it, Control Command R, and let's call it Superhero Pad. And with that, back to the studio. Now, as I've mentioned, you can of course download it in the description box down below. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more awesome content and more synthesizer tutorials and many other tips and tricks from Ableton. If you like designing sounds, if you want to learn more and design some more sounds, check this playlist here, which is all for you. That's the Sweets on Sunday playlist. Okay, thanks so much for watching and see you guys in the next video. Cheers!